This video is going to hurt me, because Neverwinter Online was my main MMO for many years, many difficult years, and it helped get me through them. I became obsessed with this game. I was one of the highest ranked hunter rangers there was. In fact, this entire YouTube channel began because I wanted somewhere to put my Neverwinter dungeon guides. If you sort my videos by oldest first, you'll still find them, and I think we've come a long way in terms of video quality.
Hi YouTube, I'm Josh Strife Hayes, and this is a guide to Demo Gorgon, our Neverwinter Online. When we get her health down to a certain level, which is not too far, she'll return to the middle of the arena, and energy will sprout from her like that. When that happens, run to the edge. Two things we now need to deal with: the ghosts flying around and the red strips of damage. So the tank is going to keep Orcus facing forward. I'm going to get behind him as a DPS and then do as much damage as I can as fast as I can. You cannot take many hits from Orcus. I can take 2 until I die, so I do not want to take any damage from this guy whatsoever. See how he raises his arms there? We're all about to take damage. That's the big damaging attack, and now we see what's happened. So what he's done, he's joined myself and Lux together by that beam. As soon as that happens, you have maybe a second or two just to wait and attack him. Use that second when he's not doing anything to get some real DPS in.
Some of my longer time viewers may even remember the original Twitch streams, always opening with "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, I'm Josh Strife Hayes, an English Hunter Ranger, and today we'll be playing Neverwinter." But times change, games change, people change, and I'm far more well-travelled in the MMO world than I was back then. I know the warning signs of a dying game, the abusive mechanics meant to keep you playing long after the fun has stopped, the predatory cash shops and pricing structures meant to make you spend just a little bit more to be mathematically abusive, the ability to buy power and bypass all of that pesky gameplay. This video is going to hurt me, and that's okay, because it's not about me. It's about the genre, the players. It's about holding what I love to a higher standard and not being blinded by personal connection or nostalgia. This episode of Worst MMO is going to be slightly different, because while I will be able to give an impartial review of the opening and discuss the mechanics while maintaining an emotionless distance, I'm also then going to be able to show you one of the most pay-to-win predatory monetization systems in any game with examples, because with Neverwinter, I know exactly how to break it. So, if you've ever been upset that I've torn down your favourite MMO, sit back and enjoy some well-earned revenge. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm Josh Strife Hayes, and this is Worst MMO Ever, a series where I play the worst MMO games I can find so you don't have to. Drop a like on the video or sub to the channel for more MMO stuff. Ring the bell for all the future notifications. And, as usual, a massive thank you to all the supporters on Patreon and Twitch who keep the channel alive. More on how you can support at the end. For now, let's begin. Today we are playing the action combat MMO Neverwinter. It's on Steam and it's free, so let's give it a try. The first thing many people ask is, Neverwinter? As in Neverwinter Nights? Well, no, not exactly. Same setting, vastly different gameplay. Neverwinter Online is an official Dungeons & Dragons game set in the Forgotten Realms campaign setting, but there's very little actually tying it to the Dungeons & Dragons mechanics. Things share names and there's hints for fans, but if you're expecting a game which honours the rule set or the spell effects, you're out of luck. Game starts. Create a character. You've only got 2 possible character slots. Remember this for later. First off, we choose a race. You've got the standard human, elf, half-orc. Each race has racial bonuses. But you've also got premium races, like Mesoberanzan Renegade, Dragonborn, or the exceptionally powerful Metallic Ancestry Dragonborn. And if you're thinking, hang on, does this mean there's an objectively best race to play, and it's going to cost you a lot of money to unlock that race? Yes. It means exactly that. In fact, it's going to cost you a lot of money to be the best, and we'll look at the total cost later because it is staggering. Along with the race, you'll pick a class. You've got 9 to choose from: your standard melee barbarian, your tanky paladin, stealthy rogue, useless bard. I'll go with a wizard because I know they specialise in battlefield control and status effects, and I know that's going to be useful. Now we get to choose our ability score to make it look even more D&D. When Neverwinter released, you actually got to re-roll these. They weren't actually random. them. There were about 6 different presets and you just re-rolled until you got the one you wanted, but now you just choose one of 2 preset boosts. The face customization is pretty good. You've got a lot of control and features to define. I mean, you'll be wearing a helmet for almost all the game, and combat is action-based, so no one will ever see your face, but it is a decent enough character creator. You then choose your starting city and which god you want to worship. This is purely fluff and has no mechanical impact on the game whatsoever. And now we get to watch the intro movie, which, while brilliant, hasn't changed in 8 years. If you played Neverwinter back in release in 2013, you watched this movie. And at the time, all of the characters shown in the movie were the classes you could play. So it was thematically tying the mechanics of the game to the intro movie. The characters shown were what you could play. But now it's outdated because those classes don't work like that, and there are new classes that aren't featured in the film. Also, the intro is all about Valindra, which is weird because they've changed some intro stuff that they didn't need to. We'll get to that in a minute. It's still nice to watch, but it's just not connected to the storyline, at least not anymore. Game starts. WASD movement, space to jump. Pressing shift dodges. Dodging is an automatic animation cancel from any attack and uses up the stamina shown in the upward pointing chevron above the D20 themed action point gauge to the bottom center of the screen. And I do have to admit, this opening tutorial is excellent. We are washed up on a beach after the Draco Lich attacked, and now we need to fight our way out. The NPCs are all voiced and the quest direction is given, and then there's a sparkling path leading you to your objective. All objectives are also shown on the minimap with highlighted areas so you know where to be. Navigation is great. Your basic attacks, called your at-will powers, are bound to left and right click, while your encounter powers are on Q, E and R. Encounter powers are abilities with cooldowns, because in D&D, encounters are combat situations. I chose the wizard because your opening encounter lifts up enemies and chokes them in midair, which is just terrific. We then meet Mako, the tiefling from the opening movie, and fight together to escape, crossing this burning bridge, leveling up and getting new encounters as we go. The early experience is great, and to this day I still judge other action combat systems against Neverwinter. It didn't do much right, but the combat, it nailed. Animation cancelling dodges, battlefield control skills, perfect enemy mob sizes, dangerous enough smaller swarms, hard-hitting enemies, AoE, actually threatening early game encounters. Neverwinter is a brilliant example of action combat done right. I think that's why I played it for so long. Look, when you harm this skeleton knight, he falls off his horse, and now there's 2 enemies. I love mechanics like this. It makes sense that there would be 2 enemies. And if you're an old player, you'll remember that now Private Wilfred charges across the bridge and shouts Valindra! Except no, that doesn't happen. It's now Mako that does that. But they haven't changed Mako's running animation. They've just put his texture over Wilfred's body, so he looks like he's moving differently. I don't understand why they did this. I liked Wilfred, but okay. And now we take on the first elite enemy, and this is another reason I adore the combat. The ability to dodge out of the enemy's attacks if you time it correctly. Skill does matter in Neverwinter, at least until the cash shop gets involved. Finally, we arrive in Protector's Enclave and get told to go and talk to Sergeant Knox, the guy in charge. Older players will remember him being down a side street by Lord Neverember, but no, now he's head of the Adventurers Guild. Knox orders the mount seller to give us a free mount, and here's an interesting thing. Mounts aren't just transport-based. You get to keep all your mounts in your stable, and mounts also increase your base movement speed, your mounted movement speed, and each mouse has an attack in combat. And you can mix and match all these effects. So if I own 3 mounts, I can have the foot speed increase from one, the graphical and riding speed increase of another, and the combat ability of another. It's a real free-form system, and it sounds great, but we'll see how predatory it is soon. Knox sends us to complete basic training. This apparently means going to space and fighting a training dummy. Not a huge fan of this style of story design. It's not woven seamlessly into a narrative. It's very specific, okay, this is the training bit. It's taken the player away from the action. It's interrupted the flow of the adventure, the world, the characters. It's just stuck me in a pocket dimension and said, hey, here's a tutorial. It's a very college student's first game way of getting this knowledge across to the player. This is the laziest possible way you could have done this. Now, one of my favourite aspects of the combat system. Each class has a different tab power. Pressing tab does different things depending on who you are. The paladin holds up his shield to block and has a block meter. The rogue turns invisible for a limited amount of time for stealth attacks. And the wizard can put any encounter power onto tab, and now that power gains an additional effect. So instead of pushing one enemy back, I now push a mob back. It's a great way to help the classes feel unique. Your tab power is your defining feature. Now we're shown daily powers, which despite the name aren't actually usable daily, they're just names to tie in with the 5th edition of D&D. The lower centre D20 icon fills up as we fight, and then your daily powers can be used when it's full. Bound to the 1 and 2 keys, the wizard can create an arcane singularity which pulls in then damages all enemies, which is super cool to watch and great for controlling the battlefield. Training done, and we're off to Neverdeath Graveyard. There's zombies and a cult to deal with, because apparently this is the DM's first adventure and they've stuck to the classics. Pressing M opens the city map, and interacting with the gate on the edge of any map opens the world map. Neverwinter is not one huge open world, it is many smaller maps connected via fast travel. You've got a load of familiar D&D locations, the Underdark, the Feywild, Icewind Dale, they're all here, but as you level up and do campaigns you will eventually have a different hub city, which is why Protector's Enclave seems so dead. In Neverdeath we are given a quest to help some Doom guides, and our reward will be a level. You see, recently they've had a bit of an update. You don't gain experience in Neverwinter, you don't grind mobs or repeatable quests, you get given levels for following the main storyline, so you kind of have to. And they've squished it down so the max level is 20, which again relates to 5th edition D&D. Your extra encounter powers are also level locked, so following the main questline is the only way to become more powerful, unless you buy a boost from the shop, which we'll get to soon. So let's look at where we are. A free Dungeons & Dragons themed action MMO with decent intro sequence, shoehorned in combat tutorial with fluff and flavours of D&D, and a top-notch combat system with well-defined early game story arc. I should like this. And part of me still does, and if I didn't know better I would probably be lavishing praise on it, but I do know better. I know what this becomes, and I'm going to show you proof of how pay to win this is. Neverwinter was my Twitch and YouTube career for a long time. I don't regret playing it for as long as I did, not for a single second. I had fun. But this is the game which made me realise it's the systems hidden underneath the facade that matter more, because they are the true spirit of the game, what the developers are actually trying to get the players to experience. Neverwinter looks and plays great, many MMOs do, but underneath, this game is all about the money. But hey, look, new daily attack, Ice Knife, which is great. It just rams a massive ice knife through your opponents, smashing them into the floor. Every time I start to hate the game, the combat drags me back in, and I have to try, really try, to be objective here. Because look, the first Red Wizard of Thay boss is actually really tough. I have to use my potions to survive, and the game only gives you 10, meaning consumable management in the early game matters. And it will keep mattering, right up until the cash shop gets involved. And when that wizard dies, he drops some purple loot, which throws me, because purple is epic, and I'm level 2. But okay, I guess this is the stat squish loot change. You've also got a journal which tracks all your accepted quests and later will show your campaign progress. Journal is great, easy to read, nice layout, easy to switch which quest is being tracked, no problems here at all. Small touch I do like, some of the quests are funny. Like here, I'm trying to find a new home for a sarcastic, confrontational lich's phylactery. I'm basically an undead estate agent and he's rejecting homes based on the decor. It is nice to see when D&D games don't take themselves too seriously. Around the world you might find some skill checks, little treasure caches which require a certain class ability to interact with, so any arcane stacks I can loot, rangers can loot nature checks, rogues can loot trap caches, or you can buy a pack to let you loot other classes' specific halls. Not worth much in the early game, get more valuable as you do play through. Hand in the quest, get some new gear, get sent out on more quests, and well, this is when the cracks start to show through, where the weaknesses become more apparent in the actual construction of the game. Like how, if you look, you're not actually standing on the floor. You're hovering above it. This is the opening zone, and they've not mapped the physical floor to the bridge model, because the bridge is slanted in a weird way. You are just kind of hovering. There's a lot of small graphical touches that make the whole thing seem rushed, unpolished. Like how this absolutely awesome fight inside a mausoleum with dodging and healing and using powers and fighting mobs and wizards and elite enemies, and then you leave and the game does this strange zoom in thing. Like the camera stayed in the tomb map and had to manually catch up with me. What made this happen? Around the world, you'll also find some campfires. Standing in one slowly heals any injuries, and you can pray to your chosen god once every few minutes, generating some consumable items or weekly coins you can spend on some junk. You'll also respawn here if you die. Hand in a few more quests and get sent to the Tree of Souls. Have to defend this priestess while she blesses certain areas of the graveyard to remove all the evil magic. Actually some quite challenging fights because the enemies make a beeline for her and not me. So I'm trying to control the battlefield so we finish faster. And then she blesses the tree and we get this lovely graphical shift in the weather from dark and dismal to sunny and happy. Actually a really nice transition. We're now told to go to Pauper's Field Tomb and... okay. This is where my long-term player bias works against me. And if you've ever played this game, you'll notice it too. Pauper's Field Tomb is Castle Never. Well, it was Castle Never. It's the old Castle Never epic dungeon map. They've just used a small part of it. They do this a lot. Kind of like how one of the Nobles' estates is just the Guild Castle map reused, or how the Adventurers Guild with Sergeant Knox in it is a reskin of one of the old tavern maps. Newer players won't notice, and of course for them it looks great, but I notice. They've had the same intro movie for 8 years and they're reusing old dungeon maps presented in a new way and calling it an update. It's not an update, it's just recycling. It's like how they removed 7 or 8 dungeons a couple of years ago and then slowly released them, touting them as new content. They weren't new. They just reskinned old. Fighting through this sanitized, neutered Castle Never makes me incredibly sad. This map used to mean fear, adrenaline, mobs galore, AoE spamming, constant healing. It used to mean excited action combat. Now it's a low-level run. When people say to me, yeah, but my game used to be good, I know what you mean. I understand. I know exactly what it used to be good means. I'm looking at it right now. But here's the thing, we can't recommend games based on how they used to be, because new players aren't playing through our memories, they're playing through the game's reality as it is now. We have to look at it as it is now, judge it as it is now. So let's have a look at some reviews. Since its beginnings, it's gone way down. There's just too many things that don't work. Listing them all would be pointless. Has nothing to do with D&D, never really did. And the potential that was there in the beginning is now lost in a mountain of updates. Stories not fully developed, bad matchmaking, events that don't even make sense, and... enough, this is making me sad. For what it is, it's a very decent free-to-play MMO. The in-store content isn't pushed super hard, combat is fun and engaging, if a little repetitive. Fans of the D&D books and lore will enjoy themselves. With every patch, game is getting worse. Currently, it's a cash grab on life support. They will sell best gear for dollars, and then nerf it a few months later to sell you the new best thing. It pains me to write this review, over 3,000 hours on record. The game is awesome, or to be more precise, was awesome. Unfortunately, the developers decided not to listen to the players, and with the new update, Neverwinter Online will become probably the only MMORPG where you actually get punished if you improve your gear. They call it scaling. Who in their right mind plays an MMORPG only to be punished for their success? It feels not very rewarding. As always, Cryptic Studios and Perfect World Entertainment having disgusting monetization system. The game is enjoyable for the first time you play it. However, after you achieve the max level, you either need to dump huge amounts of cash into it or you won't be accomplishing much. Therefore, you are in a dead end. If you play it, you either screw yourself to pay for it and stay relevant, or you don't buy anything and remain a noob forever. Found myself getting bored of WoW, so moved over to Neverwinter, and I must say I have not had this much fun in a long time. Highly suggest. I love the game for what it is. The gameplay and story keep me entertained, however I really hate how expensive everything is. The most interesting customization options are all locked behind very expensive paywalls. If what you're looking for is a fun endgame experience, Neverwinter is not the place for you. Leveling until 70 is genuinely a lot of fun. It's a romp inside the Dungeons & Dragons world. You can play as a bunch of fun classes, and it's all round a good time. That is, if you have friends to play with, and don't plan on trying to keep up with the veteran players, like ever, unless you're a wallet warrior. Even then, good luck. This review was written when level 70 was still the maximum, but the sentiment still applies to level 20. If you think I'm being unfair and have just cherry-picked the bad reviews, go to Steam and sort by most helpful and then scroll down. You'll see players with hundreds or thousands of hours of game time all saying, stay away. It's not what it once was. It's gone from fun action game with grindable in-game currency and rewards to loot boxes, campaign completion tokens, and paywalls. If anything, I had to dig deep to find the positive reviews. My love for Neverwinter runs deep. I even went out and bought the novel the game is based on. It's a trilogy, starting with Gauntlgrim, which actually used to be a major part of the game. Guild battles, 20 versus 20 in an underground dwarven city, which, again, was removed pretty early on. And many years ago, I even made Why Neverwinter is Dying. And watching this video back is bittersweet, because everything I said was going to happen, happened. I just really wish it hadn't. I genuinely wish that I've been wrong. So now let's get to the pay to win side, because this is one game I can actually show you step by step why a free game will often cost you the most money. You've seen the little pop-up adverts on the right hand side of the screen showing 30% off, double currency, boost happening now. Neverwinter is packed with various currencies, almost a new one for each map, but there are only two that matter: Zen and Astral Diamonds. Zen is a Cryptic Studios thing. Their other games, such as Star Trek Online, also use Zen. It's a universal cross-game currency. And then Astral Diamonds are specific to Neverwinter. You can find unrefined Astral Diamonds in the game and then refine 100,000 a day. Or you can just sell your Zen to other players for their Astral Diamonds. So you can literally just buy Astral Diamonds by converting Zen, which you buy with money. Remember this. Once you've leveled to 20 following the main story, you'll start work on the campaigns, which are several month-long grind-based content islands with time gates based on how much you can progress a day, and progressing through a campaign awards boon points which you can spend on permanent buffs. So progression equals power. Now, for what it's worth, the campaigns, even though self-contained, are pretty enjoyable. If you go to the Chult campaign, you'll be killing dinosaurs and getting weapons that do more damage against dinosaurs, but then when you go over to Barovia and kill vampires, all your dinosaur stuff is useless. That's why I call them content islands. They're fun, if a little tedious. Well, they were, until they removed a whole load of them. Remember Sharandar, the Dread Ring, the Temple of Elemental Evil? Yeah, enjoy the memories. So these boons matter in PvP too, although the PvP scene is dead for reasons you're about to see. What if you are busy and you want to progress through the campaigns faster? Well, welcome to the Zen Shop, your one-stop shop for buying power. Join me as I literally show you how to buy your way to Neverwinter Endgame in one fell swoop. You need to finish campaigns to get the boons, but you can buy campaign boost tokens which unlock the rewards early, or give you bonus rewards for completing them. There are 2 in the shop right now for 700 Zen each, and there's a full completion token for the 3rd campaign for 1,750 Zen. You don't even need to play it, you just get all the rewards. So let's add those to the basket. Now we don't need to spend as much time grinding campaigns. Oh look, a Holy Vorpal enchantment to imbue our weapon with holy damage and hit loads more. That sounds pretty good, that's only 700 Zen, let's throw that in. And remember the locked races? Well, the Dragonborn race pack is going to set you back 3,500 Zen, but don't worry, it'll make you more powerful than the other races. Oh, and don't go thinking you could save money by just buying the Dragonborn pack on its own, because look at the cost, 3,500. Now look at the denominations they sell Zen in. The 3,000 Zen pack comes with a bonus of 450. So you're still 50 Zen short. You'll need to buy the higher pack or multiple smaller packs because it's just not enough. But oh, what if you wanted the even better Metallic Ancestry Dragonborn? Well, you can only get that in older lockboxes, and you'll need the keys. So we'll buy some keys later, don't worry. There's no guarantee you'll get this though. No matter how much money you spend, you might never actually get this. We'll also want a mount, but we'll sort that in a pack later, because remember, mounts have passive buffs and combat powers, so we're basically buying power with this because there's no level restriction, and oh, we'll need some companions, AI fighters, to help us. And because your companions work in a way like mounts of having passive buffs, you can mix and match the active buffs based on which companions you own, so we'll need to buy 4 companions to get the best individual slot buff, and they're 1,050 Zen each. That's a total of 4,200 Zen for companions. Might as well throw in some extra character slots while we're at it, because if we do get lucky and pull an Ancestry Metallic Dragonborn, we'll need to start a new character, so 175 Zen for 2 more character slots. Here's the Mythic Mount. Unfortunately, it's inside a pack, which will set us back 10,500 Zen, but it's okay, because the pack comes with a load of insignias to make the mount even more powerful, so you're getting your Zen's worth, although we will need to buy another mount if a better mount attack power comes out in the future, which it definitely will. So we're not buying our forever mount. We're probably buying the most powerful right now that will last us about a year. We'll need to redo this every year or so. We'll also need to hold all the loot that we pick up while soloing dungeons, and our inventory is limited, so we'll need a 60 slot bag, and that'll cost us 350 Zen. And this will be locked to whichever character uses it, so if we run more than one character, we'll need to buy more bags in the future. Remember those lockboxes with the metallic ancestry Dragonborn? Well, the chance of getting one is less than 1%. But we'll buy 10 keys, because there's a 10 key bundle for 787 Zen, so throw that in the basket as well. We don't want to waste time leveling through the story, so we'll buy a boost to 20. That's another 3,500 Zen. Remember, that's just above the threshold, so you're forced to buy the larger pack if you try to buy it alone. By now, we'll want a weapon. And if we check the market board, we can find someone selling a rank 14 weapon or armor enchantment choice for only 11.5 million Astral Diamonds. If we check the Zen to Astral Diamond exchange and see, currently, players will buy 1 Zen for 750 Astral Diamonds. That's the maximum the game lets you set it. So we'll need to exchange 15,300 Zen to buy that rank 14 pack. It's important and it's doable. But hey look, while I was browsing the auction house, I found a Forge Hammer of Gond artifact maxed out. Artifacts are powerful items anyone can equip and give passive buffs, and that's a really good one. It's only 15 million Astral Diamonds. That's a nice round 20,000 Zen, but it's worth it for the power, at least until something new comes out. So now we pretty much have our shopping cart. A max level boost, a full complement of companions, a mount for now, a weapon enchantment, our choice of armor enchant, and a decent artifact, along with a new race and some bags. Everything we need to dominate right out the gate, all for the nice affordable 64,962 Zen price tag. And remember, this is during a time when some of the items we've chosen are 30% off, so this is cheaper than it should be. So how much is this going to cost us? Well, the biggest Zen pack you can buy is 24,000, and that costs you £166, so we'd need to buy this pack 3 times to get all the Zen we'd need. So, if I spent £498, or $663 right now, I could start the game at max level with high-level companions, mounts, artifacts, an exclusive overpowered race, 10 lockbox pull attempts, more inventory space with campaigns either already completed or boosted for me. If we both started this game at the same time, but I spent £500 on it, I would instantly jump months ahead of you, and there is nothing you could do about it. But it gets worse. What if, even with all my power, I still die to a boss? Not a problem. You can spend Zen and buy a Scroll of Life, which just gets you back up, like putting another coin in an arcade machine. You can buy 500 Zen for $5, so in a boss fight you can basically pay $1 to get back up whenever you want. But don't worry, the boss you're fighting doesn't heal, meaning you can literally throw money at this game until you win. But what if that's too selfish? How about a Scroll of Mass Life, which gets your entire team back up? So if you have a whale on your team, you can never lose. Does this mean you could throw an undergeared team at the most powerful boss in the game and just keep using Scrolls of Mass Life until it died? Well, yes, because many years ago, I did exactly that. But we're not done yet. Weapons, armor, artifacts, and weapon enchantments need to be refined, and refining points drop very slowly in the game. But don't worry, you can just buy some refining points. But be careful, when you refine anything, it might break, and you'll lose your expensive reagents. So why not buy a Coalescent Ward for 700 Zen, which guarantees the refining process will succeed. You'll only need to refine about 20 items or weapons or enchantments or gems or artifacts, about 5 times each when you get to the really low chances of success. That means we'll need about 100 Coalescent Wards to max out a character. That's only 70,000 Zen. That's over £500 again, but don't worry about it, it's worth it. Well, it will be, until the new expansion releases and makes your max level armor irrelevant, because the uncommon items from the newest expansion are often better than the mythic items from the previous because of power creep. But we're still not done, because after spending over £1,000, you should probably grab the monthly VIP upgrade. This is a prestige system, and for every month you buy, you'll advance 1 rank. Important to note, it doesn't matter how many months you've been a VIP, it's how many months you buy. So if you buy the 12-month VIP sub right now, you will start the game and remain at rank 12 until the sub runs out. So let's see what you get for the VIP ranks, shall we? Remember, the higher ranks get all the benefits of the lower ranks as well. They add up. If you're a rank 3 VIP, everyone in your party gets plus 1% total HP. And this stacks. Another reason having a paying player in your party literally makes you more powerful. At rank 4 VIP, you can open the world map and just fast travel from wherever you are instead of having to do that pesky adventuring thing and find the edge of the map you're currently on like a loser. At rank 7, you're completely immune to injuries. Normally, setting off a hidden trap or falling in battle gives you an injury, a small stats debuff, and you need to use an injury kit or wait at a campfire to heal. But nope, rank 7 VIPs just don't get injured. You've paid more money. You don't need to be inconvenienced by things like immersion or mechanics. And at rank 12, you get everything. No posting fees on the auction house, discounts in the Astral Diamonds store, and oh, you can summon your bank from anywhere, so storage is never ever an issue, because returning to the bank is such a poor person thing to do. You have transcended the need to be anywhere. Everything comes to you. You can open a shop immediately. You can open a bank immediately. So how much is this going to cost you? Well, a 6-month VIP upgrade is going to cost you 3,570 Zen, which, wouldn't you know it, is just only very slightly more expensive than the 25 Zen pack, meaning, oh no, you've got to spend a little bit more than the preset pack, so you may as well go up to the £42 pack. But you'll need to buy that twice if you want 12 months. If you're watching this and thinking, yeah, but you could just grind for Astral Diamonds in the game and get all that stuff legit through gameplay, yeah, I know you can. I did it for 3 years. I completed every single campaign. I got almost every mount, every companion. I upgraded all my artifacts. I was at the top. And then every new expansion reset me to the middle. I made an entire video about how this works, and I had to grind and pay again. You spend 6 months refining your best-in-slot weapon only for a new dungeon to release, and then you discover the trash mobs in the first room drop a better one. That was the Neverwinter experience. But let's be thorough. Remember how there's a Zen to Astral Diamond exchange? This means you can grind dungeons, get Astral Diamonds as rewards, and exchange them for Zen in the game. So there is a way to get Zen by just playing the game, right? Well, kinda right, but let's look at the practicality. First, remember there's an in-game refining limit of only gaining 100,000 Astral Diamonds a day. So let's imagine you managed to play the game, and you earned 750 Astral Diamonds, and you put an offer on the exchange to buy 1 Zen. How long would that offer take to be fulfilled? Well, a while, because there's a bit of a backlog, at least on PC. Currently, there is a 65.8 million Zen buy request backlog, meaning even if you did put an offer in to buy Zen for the maximum price, you would need to wait for all 65.8 million previous requests to be fulfilled. To put that into perspective, this means right now on PC, in order to fulfill the entire 65.8 million Zen backlog, you would need to buy the £166 pack 2,742 times, which would cost you £455,000, the better part of $600,000, and earn you 49.3 billion Astral Diamonds. If you are still going to defend Neverwinter and still say it's not pay to win, consider this. No matter how long you've been playing or how skilled you think you are, I could spend enough money to be more powerful than you within the hour, and I could beat you in PvP even with my aging reactions because of pay to win. Look, I love this game. It holds a very dear place in my heart, and I'll always smile whenever I think about it. And I still think the journey from start to finish is one of the best action combat MMO journeys you can go on. It's worth playing for the main adventure alone, but I don't like what it has become. It saddens me to see the laziness in development become so overt, and it angers me, because I remember knowing, not thinking, but knowing, that this game could be so much better if they stopped being so greedy. Neverwinter used to have possibly the best thing I ever saw in any MMO, something called the Foundry. It was a player-driven creation kit. Players could make their own dungeons or stories or levels and then upload them, and then you and your friends could play through them together, and they were some of the best experiences I've ever had online. I remember when someone made a Lovecraftian Cthulhu-inspired haunted mansion one that took you to the other world. And then the level Tired of Being the Hero, where you betrayed your friends and kept the ancient power and fought through the good guys coming to stop you. It was inspired. Even the dumb jumping ones like trying to join the Goblin Special Forces or becoming a spy and travelling deep down into the world, going through assault courses. They were silly but great, which is what D&D is. If anyone ever says to you, I wish there was an MMO where you could make your own adventures and go on them with friends, there was. It was called Neverwinter. It was fantastic and they killed it. Because this today, this isn't what it was. This isn't a shadow of what it once was. Neverwinter is like having a great D&D group for a few years and going on some great adventures. Then as it goes on, the DM starts asking you to pay a little bit more and a little bit more. Then your equipment gets worse. Then they retcon old adventures. Then they reuse a map you've already explored and insist it's new. And you stay because you remember it being good. But if you were to take an objective step back and a look at your group as it is now, you'd never even start. I love you, Neverwinter, and I always will. But I can't support this. Part of me hopes this isn't goodbye. Some naive part of me hopes you can change and return to your former glory with player-made maps, multiple campaigns, earnable currency, balanced PvP. Fun. But another more grounded part of me knows it's probably best if I move on. Probably best I forget. Because holding on to the memory of when you were good just makes it even worse when I look at you now. You've been great, Neverwinter. But I think maybe it's time for me to gather my party and venture forth away from you. So to end this review, I will award Neverwinter. This review score will cost you 3,500 Zen out of 10. Thank you for watching. Thank you again to the supporters on Patreon and Twitch who keep the channel alive. You can support from only £1 a month. Check the video description for links to the Patreon, Twitch, Twitter, Discord, and the second channel, Josh Strife Plays, where I replay old games voted on by you. And as always, have a great day.